What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you how a masculine man can help a feminine woman to drop more into her feminine energy. Now, I also want to share with you that these principles that I'm about to teach to you do not just apply to man and woman in relationship. They apply to all relationships because all human beings have both masculine and feminine energies. It is really important that you understand your core energy in relationship because when you do, it is a total game changer. But also, before you understand that, understand how these energies, masculine and feminine energies, are working within yourself. And that is really the important part, understanding, but also the embodiment of these energies. I'm going to share with you 6 ways on how this can happen, how the masculine can help the feminine to relax more into their feminine energy. Now, before I get into this, I want to share with you that our next virtual workshop, HEAL, is currently open for registration. HEAL stands for Harmonize, Embody, Activate, Love, which is exactly what you are going to be doing throughout this 2-day transformational live virtual workshop with me. We are going to be dropping in and doing inner child healing, guided meditations, breath work, energetic cord cutting. We have a whole training on masculine and feminine energy harmonization. And the beautiful part about this, you can do it right from the comfort of your own home. If you missed the live event, we will also be sending out a live recording from the event. So you'll have the recording for you to listen to and watch back and refer to. Now, seats are filling up very quickly for this. So if you'd like to grab a spot before the seats fill up, go to healvirtual.co and grab your spot today. Let's get right into this episode because I'm excited about this. Before we do so, let's just take 3 deep breaths here together in this moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And just kind of feel yourself relaxing into your body. And just being present in this moment. Allowing yourself to receive, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, allowing yourself to be open. May you hear exactly what you need to hear in this moment to help you with your journey, to help you with your transformation, to help you with your healing. And just softening into your body, coming down, being present, grounding yourself down. And here we are. How good does that feel? Just to take some intentional breaths. And I think that we forget to do that. Forget to breathe throughout the day. But the breath is life, which is something that many people, including myself for a very long time, have forgotten. So the next time you get stressed out, just breathe, slow down, breathe. We get so sped up in this world of needing to be a somebody, right? Chasing that somebody-ness, chasing money, chasing fame, chasing success, all this stuff that really doesn't bring true fulfillment. It's just a temporary high of the ego. And you find yourself chasing this illusion of what you think is going to make you happy. But all along, all you have to do is just stop and look within yourself and realize that the most beautiful feeling in the world comes from within, comes from aligning with your inner source. Number 1, work on healing any of your own wounds, okay? So in this context, we're using the example of a masculine man and a feminine woman. Now, what I'm saying for the masculine in this moment, and both people in the relationship, honestly, because if you have previous wounds, then you're going to close based on those wounds. You'll be operating from your trauma and not your truth. So the first thing that I have here is the work that you do on yourself is what you offer to anyone else in this world. Okay. So for example, if you're a life coach and you're not really doing the work on yourself, you're just kind of reading the books and speaking from a mind level, you're going to connect to people at a mind level. But when you truly go in and you do the healing work to transform yourself, then you carry the codes of wisdom that can help to transform other people's lives. You do not have the ability to change anyone's lives, okay? You have the ability to help people come to their own realizations and plant seeds within them that they come to their own realization and change their own lives. And this is something I had to learn a lot of, is doing this healing work is the work we offer to other people is the work that we've done on ourselves, right? So heal any of your own wounds. What wounds are you carrying? Are you carrying shame? Are you carrying anger? Are you carrying guilt? What wounds are you still carrying? Do you have masculine wounds because your father was aggressive towards you? Or do you have feminine wounds because your mother only ever gave you conditional love? And not necessarily meaning that the feminine means the mother and the masculine means the father, but that's generally the case in most instances. So if you have some type of lingering father wounds like I did for a long time, I would invite you to drop in and start forgiving that energy, for cutting that cord. And yes, this really does take time. It takes work. And remember, you don't have to have a conversation with somebody if you're trying to heal from that relationship, okay? They can no longer even be here, and you can still have that energetic residue that has been imprinted upon you from the trauma. So get clear on your own wounds. Doing the shadow work around it means to really explore the wounded parts of yourself, explore the painful parts of yourself that you might have repressed. Now, when you get into an intimate relationship, you're going to bring all that stuff into the relationship. So this is why it's so important that the continuation of working on ourselves continues, because how can you show up fully if you're still operating from your trauma? And a lot of times in relationships, people end up creating this trauma bond-like energy where they come together and manifest each other based on their wounds to show each other where they have work to do. Now, what happens a lot of times actually is they blame the other person and say, oh, well, this person was so narcissistic, and they victimize themselves. And I've done that a lot in my life. But the real healing comes when we realize that this person is reflecting back our own wounds, and we have the ability to heal and transcend this if we want to look at it, because our triggers are our teachers, okay? Our triggers are our teachers. So if someone comes into your life and they stir things up a lot, don't just blame them and point the finger at them. What wounds are they reflecting back to yourself that you need to heal within yourself? That's the greatest guru there is, right? Is the pain that we experience in life can help us to further awaken as we deepen ourselves to the connection to our soul. So what wounds do you need to release? And I really want you just to take a moment right now, not to run by this, and just feel into this moment. What are you still carrying? What pain has caused you to close your heart? What pain has caused you to guard yourself? And just gently breathing into that, feeling into it. Right there. What is that? What is that blockage right there? And just continuing to go into this and allowing yourself to feel safe enough to go into it. Because if you don't feel safe, then you'll keep avoiding your pain. This is shadow work. This is uncomfortable. I understand. I've done a lot of this work, right? I know it's not comfortable to look at our weaknesses because no one wants to do that. No one wants to look at our wounds. No one wants to look at our stuff. But that's what's veiling us from coming back to love, from returning to love, from feeling safe in our own body, in our own home. But if you don't feel safe in your own body, how can you possibly feel safe in a relationship? You will feel disconnected from intimacy because you're carrying shame around your intimacy, around your sexuality. And this shame will veil you from being close to another person in a relationship. So if you're carrying this sense of shame or guilt or fear, then I would invite you to take a deeper look at it and heal it. Now, I know that looking at these things is not fun. It's not comfortable, but I get it. But it is worth it. And you are deserving and worthy of this love, because the more you peel back the layers of what you're not, all the stuff, all the corrosion, all the pain that you've gone through, you get back to your core essence, to your inner child essence, to this beautiful purity that you are, which is love, which is divinity. Second thing I have, be a safe space for her. Now, I'm saying for her because we're talking about how to draw the feminine energy out of our partner, right? But this also applies to both people, okay? Because both people should be a safe space for each other. And how do we be a safe space? How do we become a safe space? Be a safe space within yourself first. Have a deep connection to your own feminine energy, okay? Because if you're judgmental and critical and shaming of her feminine energy, meaning her emotions, her feelings, her sensations, her intuition, guess what? She's going to close down to you. But if you're a safe space and you're not judging her, you're not criticizing her, you're not analyzing her, trying to fix her, she's not a project to you. You're not her coach. You're not her therapist. And you just create a safe environment, allowing her to process her stuff. And you're really doing this for each other because you're both growing a garden right now in a romantic sense, in a relationship, okay? You're both creating a garden. Now, those flowers that are growing are dependent on how much emotional safety and love is in the relationship. Communication is another big thing as well. All of these little things compiled together really to help grow a beautiful divine garden. Okay? So being a safe space for her will allow her to drop her masculine shield so she can rest in her feminine energy. Now, I understand that a lot of women have been forced into this masculine role, and they're constantly protecting and providing and leading and structuring all day long and planning and organizing, all very masculine, logical things, right? So when they get home, they may still be in their masculine energy. And if they have a masculine partner at home, they may be clashing energetically, okay? So what the feminine person can do for the work within themselves is to really drop that masculine shield the moment that they walk in the door and just kind of imagine it just falling off your back, like a cloak just falling off. I don't need this anymore. I feel safe with my partner. I feel safe with their masculine energy. I feel safe and protected. I don't need to be in my masculine in this moment. So I'm just going to rest and breathe into my feminine, playful, intuitive sensation, feeling, and just allow it. Allow the radiance of your feminine heart to really shine. And the masculine is creating a safe environment, creating a safe space for the feminine to flow. It's like watching the waterfall. If you ever watched a waterfall before, that falling water is like the feminine energy, that flowing of the falling water. And the rocks and the structure holding that water is the masculine energy. Now, if you want to be able to hold space for a feminine person, you better be able to hold space for your own feminine emotions, okay? Because yes, I know you have emotions. Every single human being has emotions, but they've disconnected from that feminine energy because they've been taught that it is weakness, that it is less than. But those emotions are guiding you into your own healing, to release the pain that is not true. You are not your trauma. Is that your truth? Are you going to allow that trauma to define you? But how do you purify yourself of this stuff? You go into the emotional body to cleanse and release what is no longer serving you. So the only way that you can hold space for the feminine energy, for a feminine woman, is by holding space for your own emotions and allowing yourself to process your own stuff so you're not bringing that into a relationship. Because if you're bringing all of your anger and hurt and pain into a relationship because you haven't dealt with your emotions, you haven't processed your emotions, then guess what? She's most likely going to close down on you. She's going to put up her masculine shield and block you because she doesn't feel safe. She doesn't trust you to guide her. She doesn't trust you to lead her. And not to say that she can't do this for herself, because she absolutely can. But the masculine energy in relationship, for the most part, is the leading energy, is going to lead the relationship. And the feminine energy wants to feel safe enough to surrender into the leadership of the masculine energy. But if the masculine energy can't even lead themselves, how are you going to lead a relationship? She won't trust you and she won't feel safe enough for you to do that. Now, I know I'm coming down a little hard on the masculine right now, but I know that the masculine can take it. Number 3, this is a big one, by the way. I can feel this one coming through. Do not judge her for having emotions. I kind of touched on this a little bit already. Do not judge her for having emotions. And I want to bring this back to you again, to the masculine person listening to this maybe. How do you feel when someone judges you for having an emotion? For having a human emotion? How do you feel when someone shames you or criticizes you for having an emotion? Does that feel good? Or does it make you feel very small, and does it make you feel very agitated? It doesn't allow you to be human, okay? The beauty about spirituality, true spirituality, is recognizing that you are a human being as well, okay? Your soul took on this form known as a human body, and you are integrating into this human experience. So to deny the human emotions is to deny life. So do not shame the feminine woman or feminine person for having emotions, because when you do this, they're not going to open up to you. They're not going to be vulnerable to you. They're not going to show you the depths of their love and their radiance if they can't trust you to be a safe space and not judge them for processing emotions. How do you like when someone judges you for having emotions? I bet you don't like it. I know me personally, I don't like that. So by being a safe space, we're giving up the judgment. Maybe we were judged. Maybe you were judged for having emotions. I know I was a lot. Called a sissy and a little baby, a little girl for crying and, all these things. I was shamed so much. My dad used to say to me, listen, if you're going to cry, I'm going to give you a real reason to cry. And I wasn't allowed to show emotions. So men in this world are programmed that emotions are weak. You're a little baby if you cry. But when are you going to transcend that? When are you going to stop allowing that conditioning to define who you are as a human being? When are you going to allow yourself to cry like a man, to cry like a woman, and really feel into that? Not push it away, not fight the emotions, but allow it just to come up. Because all of that anger and stuff that you are holding on to is blocking your heart from receiving and giving love. I know for the longest time in my life, I denied all my emotions. I was emotionally numb, which led me to being emotionally unavailable in relationships. Then I would attract these other people that were also emotionally unavailable because they were mirroring back my own stuff to me. Now, when I started to wake up, I realized that I wasn't a victim and all these people were coming into my reality based on my own vibrational energy, based on my own wounds that I was attracting, okay? The fourth thing, compliment her feminine aspects. When you praise the feminine energy, that feels so good because you're honoring and cherishing their feelings. That feels like amazing to the feminine energy when you praise the feminine energy. Now, the way that the masculine loves to operate is through challenge. And when you get two masculine people operating together, they'll start challenging each other. Who's the alpha here kind of thing. That don't work in relationships. That does not work in relationships. If you challenge your feminine partner, guess what? She's going to do one of two things. She's either one, going to put up her masculine shield and try to fight against you, or two, she'll shut down, which is still going into her masculine because she's protecting herself. Okay. So if you want to draw her masculine energy, challenge her. If you want to draw her feminine energy, praise her. Wow, I love the way that your heart shines. I love the radiance of your body, of your being, of your essence. And just be present with her, grounding down, feeling into the vibration of her energy, and just loving her in a divine way. She wants to feel the divinity through your heart. She doesn't want to feel your ego, okay? She doesn't want to feel your ego. And so many men are driven by ego because they're locked in this comparison, competitive, lustful energy. And they're always trying to compare and compete their way through life. It's exhausting. When you transcend that stuff, you feel like you just graduated from second grade. And then you quickly advanced to the 12th grade. Like that's how it feels when you let go of all that ego stuff, all that ego chatter. But it takes work because there's a lot of conditioning that you're going up against in this matrix of a world that we live in. Number 5, listen intently to her. Listen intently to her. And by the way, something's coming through right now that I also want to suggest to the people listening. I'm giving you all this advice, but please be very clear on this. You never allow a person, or I would invite you not to allow a person to be abusive towards you. These tips that I'm giving to you are within the relationship that is healthy, to bring more love into the relationship. Now, if a person, feminine or masculine, I don't care what it is being abusive towards you, you set a very clear and strong boundary. If they do not stop being verbally or physically, emotionally, whatever type of abuse they're doing, you leave that relationship. You know your worth and you walk away. Now that I've just plugged that one in there and dropped that, I'll leave that alone. Listen intently to her. Listen intently to her. By listening, you are feeling the presence, or she is feeling your presence, okay? She is feeling your groundedness, your safety, because you're just intentionally listening as she's feeling into it and sharing with you, sharing the flow of her feminine heart. Now, I know a lot of people just want to talk and be heard, but how often do you ever meet someone that just listens so intently and asks you questions? And I bet when you meet someone like that, you're like, wow, that person's really interesting. And you probably barely even know anything about them, but they just sat there and asked you questions. Isn't that such a beautiful feeling when someone intently listens to you? And I really feel that both people in the relationship, masculine and feminine, should do this one because it is honoring of that person, especially when they're going through pain. So something that the masculine can say to the feminine when they're experiencing some type of pain is, I see that you are in pain. Can you help me to better understand that? And maybe it's something that you did, and maybe you need to own up and apologize for something that you did. And don't say, I'm sorry, but I am sorry for hurting you. I am sorry. I mean, it's so difficult for people to say those words. I apologize for hurting you. Just own it. If you did something that hurt another person, own it and apologize and let it go. Don't sit there and battle egos. Number 6, seek to understand her pain, not to fix her. Now, this, once again, can be both-sided, okay? A lot of these, pretty much all of these can be applied to both sides, but I'm really trying to give it from a masculine perspective. Do not try to fix her. You are not her coach. You are not her therapist. When you make her feel like a project, because that's how your masculine mind is working, is solution, problem, fix it. The masculine people can really relate to that right now. In romantic relationships with a feminine person, if you try to fix your partner, she is going to feel extremely judged and she will shut down. And when she starts to shut down, she's going to go into her masculine energy and put up her shield of protection. That is not what you want if you're trying to help her relax deeper into her feminine energy. I have to really drill this one home as well. Creating emotional safety in the relationship is really the key for a strong, healthy, loving relationship. This takes speaking your truth even when it feels uncomfortable with your partner. And that's for both people in the relationship. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that it brought you a ton of value. If it did, take a screenshot of it and share it to your Instagram story and be sure to tag me. And once again, if you would like to grab a seat at my next Heal Virtual Workshop, go to healvirtual.co and claim your spot today. Thank you so much once again for listening. I love you and I appreciate you. As always, stay open, stay loving, and stay connected to that beautiful source within you.